My name is Hannah Whitman, and on the morning of my brother's wedding, my family made one thing painfully clear. I no longer belonged. My phone buzzed before I had even finished my first cup of coffee. The message from my father was short and cold. You're not welcome at your brother's wedding. The decision was unanimous. Asterisk asterisk. A second later, my sister replied in the family group chat with nothing but a laughing emoji. I stared at the screen as anger and disbelief washed over me. I had designed the invitations. I had paid half the florist's bill. I had spent weeks negotiating with vendors while my mother kept reminding me it was my duty as the older sister. After everything I had done, they erased me with a single text. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I simply replied with one sentence. Unanimous decisions come with consequences. Then I quietly got to work. My first call was to the caterer. I removed my name and withdrew my authorization from the contract. No shouting. No revenge speech. Just paperwork. Next, I logged into our shared family account and froze it with a single click. My hands never shook. By noon, I was dressed in black, not for grief but for determination. At exactly 5:58 p.m., just moments before the ceremony was supposed to begin, the venue doors closed. Guests were left standing outside. My phone immediately erupted with calls and messages. The first was from my mother. She sounded furious, frightened, and desperate all at once. Hannah, what did you do? Fix this right now. Behind her voice, I could hear confused guests, nervous laughter, and rising panic echoing through the venue. I sat quietly on my couch, holding a mug of coffee that had already gone cold. My answer was calm. Ask the caterer. Ask the bank. Ask the daughter you voted out. For a moment there was silence. Then the chaos returned. My brother called next. His voice was trembling. People are leaving. The planner says nothing has been paid. Mom is crying. I closed my eyes, remembering the contract I had signed months earlier. My name was on every page. My credit card covered every deposit. My responsibility had always been invisible, until I took it away. You made your choice, I told him. Now I'm making mine. Outside my window, rain began to fall. Soft, steady, almost like a clock counting down every consequence. I opened the family account one last time and watched every pending payment freeze in place. Then I muted the family group chat. For years I had been their safety net. Tonight they were learning what life looked like without one. I never watched what happened at the venue. I didn't need to. I could picture it perfectly. Guests gathered beneath sparkling chandeliers, checking their phones and whispering to each other. My sister paced the room in her satin dress, trying not to cry. My father called anyone who might save the day. The wedding planner struggled to stay calm. The caterer waited patiently, knowing no payment meant no service. Back at home, I opened the email chain that proved everything. Weeks earlier, I had warned them that every vendor depended on my authorization. No one listened. They responded with thumbs-up emojis and silence. Now that silence belonged to them. A voicemail from my brother appeared. His voice cracked as he pleaded. Please, Hannah. Don't do this in front of everyone. I listened once. Then I deleted it. I reopened the contract and submitted the final request. Authorization withdrawn by the signing party. The rain outside grew heavier. Inside, my home felt peaceful for the first time in years. Then my phone rang again. It was the venue manager. Hannah, if you don't restore the payment authorization, we'll have no choice but to cancel the event. I took a slow breath. Then cancel it. There was a long pause. Somewhere in the background, I heard another door slam and voices rise in frustration. I ended the call. Their unanimous decision had spoken that morning. Mine spoke that evening. And for the first time in years, I stopped carrying the weight of a family that had never appreciated the person holding everything together. By the time the rain stopped, the wedding had turned into a public disaster. Guests stood under umbrellas, filming the chaos with their phones as if it were a show. My mother shouted into her phone, mascara streaking down her face, while my father paced in angry circles, searching for a solution that no longer existed. I watched none of it. Instead, I sat at my desk and printed every message they had ever sent me. The vote. The laughing emoji. The reminders that I owed my brother. Every demand that I pay without question. I placed the papers into a folder labeled fax. At 8:12 p.m. the wedding planner called again. They're willing to reimburse you. They just want the doors opened. I smiled to myself. Too late. A minute later, my sister sent me a private message. Please, just open the doors. I'll apologize. Asterisk asterisk. I read her words and remembered every time she had mocked me, ignored me, or rolled her eyes whenever I spoke. My reply was simple. Apologies don't erase choices. Then I turned my phone face down. The storm outside had ended. The one my family created had not. For the first time in years, I wasn't standing in the rain with them. I was finally safe from it. That quiet evening brought something I hadn't felt in a long time: clarity, control, and a boundary that would never be crossed again. At 9:03 p.m. my brother called once more. This time the anger was gone. Only panic remained. Hannah, people are leaving. Aunt Carla is crying. The photographer packed up. Mom keeps asking for you. I leaned against my kitchen counter and looked at the clock. Did anyone ask how I felt when all of you voted me out? I asked softly. Silence. Finally, he whispered, I didn't think you'd actually do anything. His words hung between us like shattered glass. I opened my banking app one last time. Every payment was frozen. Every promise had been withdrawn. Every tie had been cleanly cut. My mother's name flashed across my screen again. I let it ring. Instead, I opened the family group chat and sent my first message since that morning. You chose public humiliation over private respect. Tonight you're living with that choice. Read receipts appeared almost instantly. Then I switched my phone to Do Not Disturb. I poured myself a glass of water and watched raindrops slide down the window. For the first time in years, I wasn't waiting for someone to need me. I had finally chosen myself. By midnight, I imagined the venue nearly empty. Wet dresses. Abandoned decorations. A ruined wedding cake waiting in the lobby. My mother crying. My father arguing with security as though anger could rewrite a signed contract. Then my brother sent me a photo. Locked doors. Guests walking away. A wedding that never happened. Below the picture he wrote, "This is your fault." I looked at the message for a long moment before replying. No. This is the consequence of your vote. I didn't argue. I didn't block him. I simply let the truth stand on its own. Soon after, the caterer emailed to confirm they were packing up. The venue followed with an official cancellation notice. I printed both documents and added them to my folder. Then I picked up the wedding invitation I had designed myself. My handwriting. My creativity. My effort. I tore it in half and dropped it into the trash. The house was silent. The storm had passed. And in that silence I discovered something unexpected. I felt free. The next morning the story was everywhere. Photos of locked doors, soaked guests, and my mother arguing with security spread across social media. People called it the wedding that never happened. The comments weren't criticizing me. They were questioning a family that had publicly rejected their own daughter while expecting her to pay for everything. That afternoon, my brother appeared at my apartment. His suit was wrinkled. His eyes were bloodshot. You ruined everything, he said quietly. I opened the door just enough to face him. No, I answered. I removed myself from a family that never valued me. He lowered his eyes. Mom's falling apart. Dad says you're heartless. I almost smiled. They held a vote, I said. I respected it. He took a slow breath. If you reopen the account. I shook my head. That door is closed just like the venue doors. Neither of us spoke. After a long silence, he finally whispered, I didn't know you were this strong. I looked at him calmly. Strength isn't loud. It's staying true to yourself. I closed the door without slamming it. I simply locked it and walked away. The next day I returned to work. The office was peaceful. Emails. Meetings. Deadlines. Ordinary problems that could actually be solved. It felt refreshing. That evening my mother left another voicemail. We never wanted this to happen. There was no apology. Only another attempt to rewrite the past. I deleted the message without listening again. Instead, I logged into my accounts. I transferred my share of the family funds into an account under my name alone. I changed passwords. Updated beneficiaries. Closed every financial connection that still tied me to them. As the sun began to set, I walked to the river. I sat quietly and watched the water carry away everything I no longer wished to hold. One final message arrived from my brother. Are we still family? I thought about it for a long time before answering. Family is defined by how you treat each other before the doors close. That night, I printed one final copy of the wedding invitation I had created. Instead of hiding it away, I framed it. Not as a memory. Not as a regret. But as a reminder of the day I finally chose myself. I didn't lose my family. I found my freedom. And for the first time in years, I fell asleep completely at peace.